The man sitting next to me inspired me and many others living with depression and anxiety to follow their dreams. The Vancouver Canucks legend and now Canucks play-by-play man, Corey Hirsch, is here to chat about the struggles and how he's dealt with them and over the years. Welcome, Corey.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. So was there any special moments that a fan did for you while you were playing, or like post career, that always live on in your memories?
Yeah, there's always little different things, but you know what? It's always just nice to be asked for your autograph. I don't. There's some specific moments, but it's always nice even today to be asked for your autograph, that people still remember that you played. So I would say probably the most special moments that have come from my mental health stuff, where I connect with people. People send me emails, they thank me for the article, or that how somehow I've helped them. That's probably where I get the most satisfaction out of everything I do.
Yeah, once you came out with the article, that hit me home, like it hit home for me, and like it inspired me to get out there and get going and try and figure out what I truly wanted to do, even though I was living day to day, like feeling like I was trapped and not going anywhere.
Yeah, so and that's why I put it out there, because I always thought that I was the only one with issues. So when I was going through mental health problems and struggling, and I always thought that I was the only one out there. I thought, I'm the only person in the world with this. They're not going to be able to figure it out. There's millions of people out there struggling with mental illness, but we've been taught as a society over the course of years to not talk about it and to not say anything. And when you don't talk about it, you don't know what's going on in other people's lives. And what you end up realizing after you open up and talk about it is that there are so many people struggling with mental illness. To what degree is always we don't really know in everybody, but that you're not alone. Everybody's got some sort of issues going on in their lives.
I agree. Do you like the way the NHL is going to tackle depression and anxiety? Are they doing a good enough job for the players?
I think they do a pretty good job. I know their whole program and their system, and there's a Dr. Shaw who does a fantastic job with addiction and rehab and all that stuff with guys, and that comes back to mental health as well. And then each team has a sports psychologist or a psychologist on staff. Where the issue comes is that the players don't tend to reach out when they need help, because it's public persona, and they're afraid of their losing their careers, or being labeled as something which is furthest from the truth. Because what actually happens is that guys actually play better when they get better with their mental illness or their health. They're actually better players, and they'll be better for their team. So they've already made the NHL with what they have. And then could you imagine, then they can train properly, they can sleep properly, they eat properly. When you have mental illness, you don't do all those things. But as far as the NHL, they do a lot of good things. It's behind closed doors a little bit, so that it's not, it's all confidential, and they do a really good job.
What was the hardest game mentally have you ever played in?
There's been a lot. Probably, again, nothing specific, but probably games where you're struggling where you're not performing well. Fans can get on you. They can get pretty mean. I've been called a lot of names.
Yeah, I believe it.
But yeah, you know what? Those are games where you just have to kind of get through them, and it's the same as I'll go back to mental illness as hockey is that if you have a bad game, there's always tomorrow. You have a bad day of mental illness, there's always tomorrow. You just got to get through what you're going through, get to the next day, and start over again.
What team did you least like playing during your time as a Vancouver Canuck?
Oh, Edmonton. I hated playing against Edmonton.
Yeah.
In Edmonton mostly, because they just it just seemed like the players were the ice was harder, they shot pucks faster. It was the atmosphere was excellent if you're an Edmonton Oiler, but for me, I never had success against Edmonton.
Yeah. If you hadn't become a hockey player, what would you have done as a career?
That's a very good question. I think I probably would have ended up a police officer. That was a direction that I was looking into even post-career, because I like the team aspect of it. I like the fact that you can be a positive influence on people's lives. You can help people. There's two ways you can go. You can either, there's so much, you're dealing with people that are struggling quite a bit. you can either help them or or you can go another way. But I choose that I would love to be able to help other people, and I think being a police officer is a great way to do it.
Definitely. How has the culture in an NHL franchise changed since you were in the league? Has the support of the NHL towards LGBT community and mental health awareness nights helped change people's minds if they were negative before?
Yeah, I think they've done a great job of changing people's minds on LGBTQ issues and mental illness. The You Can Play program is fantastic, and there isn't a player out there in the National Hockey League. I know we're all just kind of waiting for the first player to come out, and it's going to be fine. It's going to be okay. No one's going to care. As long as you perform on the ice. The way we've always been taught is we don't care what you do off the ice with your life. That's your business. But as long as you play well on the ice, that's the way it should be. And it's someone's sexual orientation has nothing to do with what they're like as a person or as an athlete. So I think we're very welcoming as a league. And that's the way it should be. As far as mental illness, we still have a long way to go. There's still a stigma attached there. And it's more if you're a coach, you want all your players to be healthy, and it's no different than a guy has a broken leg or bad shoulders. You're concerned that it's going to affect their performance. But in actual fact, with mental illness is that, like I said, if you've made it to the NHL with mental illness, you're already doing pretty good. Can you imagine if all of a sudden now you get healthy? So I think we still have a long way to go with mental illness in the NHL, but we're getting there. Yeah.
Do you still see discrimination in the locker room or even in a broadcasting setting?
In what terms? In terms of mental illness, or?
Yeah, and maybe even against females in the broadcasting setting, or anything like that, or racial, or anything.
You know what? Hockey's a gentleman's sport. I've always felt like it, and I feel like it's pretty accepting.
Yeah.
There's always going to be issues in society of different things everywhere. It's just that's society. But as far as as far as things like racism or accepting females or it's a very male-dominated industry, but I mean we're very welcoming of everybody. I feel like it's a gentleman's game, and how we've been taught is to accept people as they are. And again, I haven't seen anything personally. I'm sure there's stuff, but as far as broadcasting and everything, Sportsnet 650, who I work for, has done a fantastic job.
Who was your preferred referee while you were playing?
Oh, geez, I can't even remember. I was partial to Paul Stewart. He's a veteran referee, or Kerry Fraser were probably the two, because I grew up watching them.
Yeah.
So they're pretty cool, and they're good guys. Now that I know them post-career, it's even better.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What was going through your head when the building was so loud that you could not focus, or was it too much at all?
Yeah, no, it was. That's when you're younger, you learn to just kind of block that stuff out. You learn skills to be able to, you learn mental toughness skills to be able to block that stuff out and to be able to stay in the game. And one thing about professional athletes is, and I'll tell you the same thing, we don't even really notice that the crowd in the stands, because you're focused on what's going on the ice, and that's not a slight to fans. It's just you have to be focused on what's going on the ice, because that's where you need to perform. So the fans are great. The cheering is great. They can get behind you, but as far as a player, you need to stay focused on what you're doing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Did your mentality change when you got notified you were being traded to Vancouver?
Well, I was excited because I was stuck in New York in the minors, so I knew it was going to be an opportunity to play in the NHL. So I thought it was a good opportunity to get a chance to play in the NHL. I still wasn't on the team. I had to go in and make the team the next year, but there was a spot open, which is all you can ask for as a player.
Definitely. Did you ever feel like when someone was chirping you, in quotation, on the ice, it felt like it was a personal attack?
I don't think so. No, we all say stuff, and we all. I never ever felt like anything was ever really personal. Yeah, it would make you mad.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
If someone said something about your girlfriend or your wife,
yeah.
Kids are offside. Typically guys will never ever say something about a kid or anything like that, and it just doesn't. We've never heard of that. I've never been said anything like that. No, you know what? We all, it's we all know each other in some form or another. So you know, you might end up having a beer with them at the bar after.
Yeah, or be working with them in broadcasting
Absolutely.
one day. So
Absolutely.
you don't want to burn any bridges.
No,
That's for sure.
no, we all know each other, and ultimately, some guys get under your skin a little bit more, but it's not that big of a deal.
Which coach worked you the hardest?
Oh, geez, Mike Keenan was tough.
Yeah.
I had Mike Keenan as a coach, and his off-ice stuff. You're always riding the bikes, or you're always working out. And he was probably the hardest coach I had. Yeah.
When you first came out with depression and anxiety, what was your thoughts on a day-to-day basis? Did you ever think you would be welcome in an NHL locker room again back in the 90s?
I wasn't sure, what was going to happen. I was kind of, when my story just came out, before it came out, you don't realize how big of a problem it is. And after the story came out, I realized that it's an absolutely massive issue in society. So I don't think I had one negative comment out of millions of comments, thousands of comments towards anything I was going through. And actually, they open up to me a lot more now than what they did before. So I think we're in a good place as far as that. But no, it was scary at first.
Yeah, I bet. How has the research advanced with sports teams with their mental illness and awareness? Has it heightened a lot more?
Yes, it's gotten a lot better. NBA is a program now. They're going to run through their players and coaches. I'd like to see other leagues follow suit. I think it's only a matter of time. I think it's ridiculous that we're 2019 and we're just dealing with this stuff. I mean, this stuff has been going on for centuries. This isn't just mental illness didn't just happen in the last 5 years. This is stuff that dates back to biblical times.
Yeah.
So to me it's disappointing that it's 2019 and we're just starting to address it, but we're getting there, and it's going to take time, and at least we are at a point now where we're starting to end the stigma.
Who is your favorite players to watch? Who is your favorite player to watch right now in the current NHL besides McDavid, Crosby, or anyone on the Canucks?
Nathan McKinnon.
Nathan McKinnon
is an excellent player. Yeah, he's very skilled, fast. He can shoot the puck. He's exciting to watch.
You look back at the 1992-1993 season and see a lot of negatives, but being able to skate and be around players with the likes of Mark Messier, Ty Domi, Doug White, and Sergei Zubov, what positives, looking back now, did those players leave a lasting impact on you as a player?
Yeah, I mean, lots. They were great players. I lived with Sergei Zubov at one point. I lived with Doug White at one point, so they became friends. And even if I still saw them today, we'd still be, we'd catch up right where we left off. So I think, the fact that that there was great people and they ended up great players, and it's inspirational to watch, what they did on the ice and who they've become off the ice. Doug Waite's done a lot around the league. Mark Messier has, Sergei Zubov, and they just being good people is important.
I remember Zubov for his Dallas Stars days.
Yeah, he was. I played with him in New York, and he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's not.
Yeah.
What was it like playing against Wayne Gretzky?
Wayne Gretzky never scored on me, and I caught him towards the tail end of his career, so he was getting older.
Yeah.
And thank goodness I didn't catch him during the middle of it.
Ooh.
But it was pretty cool. It was cool just to stand there and look across the red line, and he was on the other side. Such obviously an iconic player and the best ever, and to be able to say that I played against him is a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, that'd be a huge honor. That's like somebody nowadays saying they'd be playing against Crosby or
the Sedins or
McDavid.
Absolutely.
Do you ever look back and think of what you've started for young broadcasters such as myself, being able to speak up and speak out about your own problems, and how you paved the path for many broadcasters and even athletes?
Yeah, you know what? I think that that's very kind of you to say. I was hoping that I would have some form of impact, right? When you live your life, eventually you want to leave a legacy that you've helped others. It's when you're a hockey player, it's so much about it. Everything is all about you personally. How you perform. People want to talk to you. People want to. So you end up living the first part of your life, and it's all about you. It's a very selfish lifestyle. And then the second half of your life, it's kind of like, well, what kind of legacy do I want to leave? How do I want to do that? And you learn that by helping people is the biggest thing you can do, because we're all we all, we're all born naked. We all leave naked, right?
Mhm.
And it doesn't matter who you were, it doesn't matter what you did, but did you help other people? And
Yeah.
that's kind of how I try to live my life.
That's how I'm trying to live mine. Like right now, even struggling with depression or anything, I'm trying to make others, even for the younger generation, younger than
That's
me,
awesome.
like even if I'm not even in the field yet, and I
Yeah.
still want to help people
It's
out.
all about helping other people, and you know what? You help other people by sharing, and letting them know that it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
Right? And that doesn't matter if you're a doctor, a lawyer, a professional athlete, if you're a movie star. It doesn't matter. We can all suffer from things and mental illness, and we're all just people at the end of the day. So, helping each other and letting people know that it's okay. It's okay to not be okay.
Definitely. You played for my hometown Kamloops Blazers in WHL, and for someone who knows Blazers fans, I know how passionate they are for hockey. Where do the Kamloops Blazers fans rank for your most passionate list?
Absolutely at the top, because that's where we won the first Memorial Cup. That's where I won our first championship, and it just it was like playing in a little mini NHL.
Yeah.
Like it's so. We used to play Memorial Arena, old arena, that's small, and I think it only seated like 3,000 people, but they
Yeah,
didn't sell
not
it
that
out,
big.
and it was crazy, and it was just a great place to play because they treated you, the fans treated you like you were a person there.
Oh, yeah.
They wasn't, and and they tried to help you, and they tried to welcome you into the city, and they knew that you're just a kid, right? They didn't, and people were just, it was just, I enjoyed my time there.
The culture has not changed since you
No,
left. Definitely
no.
not. We're still one more welcoming for hockey players, and we love making sure they feel home.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Because you're a kid and you're from everywhere else. I mean, it's different if you're a 25-year-old adult.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was 16 years old. I was still a kid, and to be welcomed into the community in high school and all that was pretty cool.
Even like for the European import drafts and stuff like that now, and we bring over players that are 17 that don't know English,
Yeah.
and they're getting sweared at by other fans in English, and yeah, it's just
Yeah.
we want to make sure everyone's welcome and they feel comfortable on ice. And yeah, we can be tough, but if you're winning, we want you to win, and we'll show
Absolutely.
up. And if you're
Absolutely.
not, it'll be proven in the seats that if you're not winning,
Yeah.
people won't be there.
Absolutely.
So, I know Hayden is playing in the same town as you started your career. How proud of you as a father for seeing him cracking the Kamloops Storm?
He's doing amazing. It's just, not everybody's path is to be able to play in the NHL. The NHL is a pretty tough league to get to, and he's making friends. He's in a great city. It's a good league. Yeah, to be able to play any form of junior hockey at a high level is pretty impressive. So he's a really good player. He's smart, and he's enjoying Kamloops, and that's really ultimately what the experience that I was hoping for him was, is that it's not even so much about the hockey, it's about the people in Kamloops and living in the city, and he's doing really well.
Good. What do you enjoy most about being a play-by-play man for the Vancouver Canucks?
Just that I get to talk about hockey for a living. It's fun.
I know.
I get to watch games. I get the games for free.
That'd be a massive perk, to say the least.
Yeah, and it's just I mean, how many people can say that they in their job? I mean, I get to talk about hockey for a living. My dad was a plumber for like 40 years, and it was he did new construction builds, so he was outside in Calgary in the cold weather, and he lived a hard life. So for me to be able to talk hockey in a beautiful arena and about professional players, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, especially when you got those Sportsnet cameras facing there.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. What advice would you give to up-and-coming broadcasters? Is there any tips you wish someone would have given you before you got into the industry?
Well, just any chance that you can get on air or on camera, do it. Like, it's all about getting reps. It's all about getting on air. It's all about getting a camera. Learning how the equipment works, like what you guys are doing, and learning different things and questions. Listen to other interviewers and see who poses great questions, who doesn't. Howard Stern is a great interview, and I listen to some of his stuff, and he'll have he's able to draw stories out of people. Like, so Paul McCartney will be on it, and he'll be able to draw a Beatles story out of them, and the result is unbelievable. And there's just some interviewers that are really good at that. So again, it's getting on air, on camera, on radio, whatever you can do. Listen to other broadcasters, and see what you like, what you don't like, and ultimately it's repetition. It's how many times can you get on air and get it done.
Is there any tips you'd want to give somebody if they're dealing with depression and anxiety, and they feel like they're alone and they want to branch out, just like myself?
Absolutely. Group therapy is fantastic. There's lots of that stuff. It's a lot cheaper than going individual therapy. You know, it's taking care of yourself. It's exercise. It's eating well. It's, you know, getting sleep. It's those little things that mental health isn't something that you just kind of, oh, I have this, and you just go on your life. You have to work at it every day, and it's no different than a professional athlete or a person that has a shoulder issue. They need to go to rehab. They need to physically get it fixed, and then you got to work on it. You got to do the maintenance on it, and it's about doing those little things to help you, you know, to be well. I know that when I don't exercise, I have a tough time, and so I know I need to exercise. I know I need to eat properly. I know I need to do those little things that are going to help me be a better person. Yeah.
What was it like calling the Sedins when they were playing and you were able to?
Well, what was cool is I got to call their very last game, and I got to I think it was Daniel's 1000th point. So those were two pretty significant moments to see, and that's pretty cool when you can call milestones of what you know, what two amazing athletes have done, and they are just the kindest people out there. They're absolutely amazing.
Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Awesome. Good.
Good.